Yo, we almost forgot to win the sidereal ticket for Lem, so we're gonna get back to it. And let us descend. Let's go ahead and take a nap. We'll sunbathe real quick. Yeah, this is the last thing we have to do. We almost forgot to do it. So we gotta win that ticket. And we're gonna give it to Lem and Mina. Absolutely. It's like the one thing we have to wrap up. We almost didn't do it. Yeah, see, we're so close. Okay. Maybe give us some scrap. Ooh. Alright, this shouldn't take us long either. Let's re-roll them. Okay, we got like one more day's worth. Let's do some sunbathing. Some repairs. End a cycle. Yeah, I was thinking about it. This is the next day, and I was like, there was one more thing we needed to do. And then I remembered seeing the win a sidereal ticket, and it was like, oh shit, Lem and Mina. We gotta get them off this eye. There we go. Shipyard. Your crew slowly filters out of the shipyard locker room, the bubbling chatter reducing with each group that leaves. There's an excitement in the air. Havenade's just made an announcement. The assembly teams are done. Sat on the locker room bench, you can feel the sidereal out there, its hulking mass now intimately familiar to you. Over the past cycles, you have watched it grow, be assembled. You have walked through its veins and welded its bones. Now it is ready for the final stage. It will go to testing now, then enter a final process of sealing and resealing, checking and rechecking before it is deemed suitable for its generational trip. But for now, your work is done. You can't help but feel proud. A cough interrupts your thoughts. It's Lem, changing out of his work gear. Mina nowhere to be seen. He smiles. She'll be ready soon. Where's Mina? You two are fast friends, huh? She's being watched at home. Now I'm on the work team, I can afford a bit more help. He corrects himself. Was on the work team. I mean, we're all out of a job now. He quickly adds, not that I'm complaining. Lem comes to sit beside you on the bench. She's got to be in her best shape when she carries you. Oh, when she carries you, Mina, and me out of here. So confident. Lem smiles apologetically. Why not? I figure I'm due a lucky turn by now. He rubs his hands nervously. No use in wondering what if, until the draw anyway. And there's a few cycles till then. Lem is right, but the odds seem unlikely anyway. How many are working in the shipyard? Hundreds? 1,000? You've certainly seen more faces than you can count pass through. And are the Celis Foundation even going to keep their promise? Out here on the Eye, you get the sense that no one will hold them to it. Why else would they be building the sidereal in a surrogate system? As you think Lem watches you with a worried look. Tell me about Celis. The Foundation? He thinks. I'm not sure I know much more than you. I hear they have a planet in mind for the sidereal, something temperate and habitable. I think they are run by some rich folk from the core, people interested in doing things different. The core. Lem gives you a funny look. Yeah, the core. He smiles. I guess people don't talk much about it out here. But it's the center of everything, if you believe in that sort of thing. The star systems we are surrogate to. He shrugs. We work so they don't have to. I'd rather keep my mind on the prize, so to speak. I don't much care what they are for or against, as long as they can help us get out of here. He sighs. You ever been in a thunderstorm, Sleeper? A real big one? I don't remember. Lem shoots you a worried look for a moment. It's something else. He smiles. The sound, the smell, the rain hammering down. The whole sky stretched out and bruised, roaring and huge. The place I was born, New Pembroke. A dry old rock in a Conway system. Had 2 seasons. One of them was dry as bone, dusty, ugly. The other was one long storm, a side effect of the terraforming efforts, they said. Rain used to rattle off the roofs like bullets. It washed the dust away, turned the streets to rivers. It'd sing us to sleep and wake us in the morning. We'd wait half a year just to see it again. The best day was the one where the first drops fell. Some days, I wake up swearing I can hear it again. I was thinking, Mina has never seen a storm. Never even felt rain. She's grown up here. The rain her only horizon. Always in the dark. I want to change that for her. You will. Of course. Almost there. Lem stands stretching. Best get back to the little one anyway. With the shift's done, I reckon she'll be happy to have me home for a few cycles. He shoulders his gear. Seeing a few for the draw. I'll be there. Right on, he grins. Lem leaves, making you the last person in the cavernous locker room. As you sit, you think about rain, and a little hope creeps in. Is it possible? Could the Sidereal really take you to a planet? A place with weather, with skies, with life? You get up quickly before you can think about it anymore. It's too soon to hope. Too dangerous. There's work to be done. Okay, so we got a couple cycles, and we don't really have a whole lot to do now, so I say we cross and we do some mushroom farming. Wait. Oh, wait. Can we harvest them now? Oh, cool. And we got ourselves another stabilizer. Wow. Haifa Labs. Cool. All right. Let's see here. Freight hub. Steal a shipment. No. Ooh, that could be kind of cool. No, we can't do that. The random items does seem kind of cool, though. There's the paths import-export. This is what we want. Matsutakes. Buy a ship mined core. Sell a ship mined. Go to Emphas for this. Yeah, I guess we'll keep this going. Maybe we'll harvest some scrap. Oops. Yeah, if we can get ourselves enough scrap, we'll role play and pretend that we're just trying to save up. What? hits you like a wave, a white-edged breaker roaring inland with the force of the entire ocean. The impact is a screaming brightness, blanking out everything. Behind it is silence. You float in silence, suspended. No, you do not float. You are the silence. It has filled you up. It has emptied you out. You cease to exist. Time passes, though you do not feel it passing. Then something flickers in the silence, and then something moves. That something is you. You open your eyes to a metal ceiling of flickering lights. You feel the floor around you, patting it with shaking hands. You assemble an image of yourself, lying on your back in a corridor. You shake off the silence and sit up. What was that? You glance around, looking for a sign of some change. Damage on the walls, shouts in the distance, fire and fear. Nothing has changed. The silence sits around you like a fog. You try to think, furrowing your brow. How do you think again? It doesn't seem so easy anymore. You force the pathways to light up, the databanks to grant access. You feel like a fraction drive starting up after a long shutdown in cold vacuum. In the wave was noise, just as the sound produced by a wave raking across a pebble beach represents trillions of impacts heard as a single roar. So this sound was the result of trillions of electrons flickering in place heard as a single impossible scream. A memory, image, comes to you. One from the moments before the wave hit. You squint as you imagine it, trying to cohere its blurry form. A broken skeletal ring, the eye, and then a vast arc approaching it. A razor-edged white curve, the wave. The wave approaches the eye. The eye spins, turning each part to face that vast white edge. You recognize their skeletal data cloud forms, the bright market, the low end, the greenway, the waste. Then the wave hits just as the flotilla, the cordon, turns to face it. And after that, everything is silence. You open your eyes again. That is the epicenter. But of what? What the fuck was that? That was insane. So the wastes. We can do this. We can do this. We need just enough to do repairs. And then we need spores. So let's reroll. Is that the same exact ones? Whoa. Okay. Guess we can sleep in the Haifa dorms tonight. Complete all active scenes. Okay. Oh shit. Wait, is this not done? Even before you reach the cordon, the damage is obvious. The blinking red lights, the drones, the tugs are all gone. Half the cordon's frame has also been shorn away, perhaps through the impact of some failing ship. People push past you in the corridor, both Haven Age staff and contractors clearing the cordon. You push through the flow of people, and despite a few suspicious looks, they offer no resistance. The further you pass into the cordon, the less people you see. You can see a few sections have been closed off, their bulkhead doors sealed, and red warning lights punctuating the corridors. But otherwise, most areas seem functional. Suddenly, you feel a hand fall on your shoulder. Haven Age security? You should have known better than to wander in this place. You brace yourself as you turn. Sleeper, Peek embraces you as you turn. What are you doing here? Did you see the cordon go down? Did Ash speak with you? Peek glances around and you can see they are panicked. I don't know what's happening. That makes two of us. Ash left without saying anything. Peek runs a hand through their hair. It was away from the ship, and when I got back, she'd taken it and gone. Then I saw the damage to the cordon. Peek looks at you with wild eyes. What if this is some Haven Age attempt to clear the flotilla? To scuttle the refugee ships? It isn't. Peek pauses. What do you know, Sleeper? There was a wave. Peek frowns. A wave? What do you mean? They pause to think. A signal that only affects electrical systems, perhaps. An EMP would have taken out most of the station, but... Peek runs a hand through their hair. I don't know what you were saying, Sleeper. That doesn't sound... They look away down the corridor for a moment. Look, I have to find Ash. I'm sure you felt something. We can talk about that later. They set off down the corridor. I can't sit around talking any longer. Find me on the flotilla. I'm going to fly away to Ash no matter what. With that, they rush away into the depths of the cordon, leaving you behind. Seems like you'll need to follow it if you want to get any answers. Oh, shit. Okay. Okay, truth be told, I thought we had finished the game last episode, so I came back to finish up what I thought would just be Lem and Mina, but we got a lot more. Good to know. Alright, give me 1 second here. Our last 2 scrap pieces. It'll take you if you bring some scrap along. Whoa, what's this? The flotilla. Haul supplies. Getting the necessary supplies to each ship to meet their needs is a huge task. Joining the hauling teams is the simplest thing you can do to help. Damage control. The wave hit systems more than anything, especially those on the ship, so there's 1,000 tiny repair jobs to be done. Yeah, I can do this. Interesting. Okay, we are gonna need to eat some food. So let us go to Emphasis Stall. Or no, we can just cook. The Banteon. There we go. Dude, this is crazy. Let's do some damage control. Couldn't get it back. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Give us some good stuff. Whoa, soul. Peak. Okay, new characters. Interesting. Someone told me I should be thanking you. Voice comes from behind you, cutting through the chaos of the crowded, cavernous bay. You freeze. Don't be afraid now. I've been hunting you Sure, but for all the best reasons. You turn to see bright eyes set in a rough face, framed in rusted metal. Whoa, cool. Soul. He holds out his hand, the other clamped firmly around a knotted wooden cane. Shake his hand. He grips you firmly with a heavy and calloused hand. Forgive me. As soon as I saw you, I knew who you were. Soul puts a hand on your shoulder. I've been told a sleeper was part of that supply run that came in several cycles ago. He nods. A very welcome act, and we all thank you for it. Walk with me, sleeper. Soul sets off through the bay, his partial suit hissing and creaking as it helps carry him through the busy crowds. You notice people making way for you, and Soul, standing back and letting you pass. You pass a makeshift kitchen, steaming pots on heating elements, a restless queue collecting meals. That algae that came through isn't exactly a full meal, but with what we have here, we've been able to make it work. You see a ladle of a greenish stew dished out. Color is something, isn't it? Soul smiles. Soul leads you out of the larger bay, into a corridor lined with storage rooms that are now serving as dorms. You see someone filling a metal container from a standpipe, the water gushing out readily. Soul nods to the person as he passes. Just a little further now. Soul leads you into a freight elevator and whistles to some unseen operator to start it up. It jerks into life, and as you pass through the layers of the ship, you see people on every level, supplies crammed into every available space, and sparks leaping in bursts as the ship is reshaped and modified to sustain its population. If Haven Age were expecting an exodus from the flotilla, the Flux event has put a stop to that. Soul stretches. Some have crossed to the eye, but many just to gather salvage or score a hot meal. So the pressure on our supplies is shrinking, but not like I'd hoped. With the Flux reaching all the way out here, people are starting to understand that our journey might not be over. Soul stares grimly ahead. Suddenly, the freight elevator screeches to a halt, and Soul leads you slowly out into a wide room of chairs and terminals, ringed by mezzanine and with a glass roof above, showing the distant hub, and the far curve of the eye beyond. The people at the terminals nod to him as he enters. This is your ship? Soul nods. That's right. The Pilgrim seat is mine to care for. He leads you up to a railed platform at the center of the room and stops. She chose me, so to speak. Well, at least your crew did, and I do my best to serve them. Soul looks around the bridge of the ship, a pained expression on his face. I'll admit that the responsibility isn't one that suits me, that we rarely get to choose such things. He glances back at you. But you, Sleeper, from what I understand, you chose to try to help us here. Is that right? I did my best to. Soul nods silently. But I have to ask you, Sleeper, why are you here now? Soul leans back and you feel his eyes on you, assessing you. The Flux event. I appreciate the honesty. I had figured as much. Soul flexes a shoulder that is free of the suit. Looking at you now, I can see that an event like that, well, it would have had a big impact. He smiles, half a smile. I have thousands of people here on the Pilgrim seat, Sleeper, and there's thousands more out in the flotilla. He leans against a railing. A lot of them are looking to me to provide some future for them, some path out of this dead end we've got into. And this cycle, this very cycle, the thing we've been running away from, it just caught up with us. So these people are scared, Sleeper, and they are looking to me for reassurance. And then, on the same cycle, someone tells me they see you on board, a Sleeper, the same Sleeper, they reckon, that wanted so strongly to send a ship past the cordon to see us. Soul scratches at his beard. The first thing I wanted to do was thank you for that, for your interest. He pauses. The second thing I wanted to do was find out what you want from us. Soul's suit hisses and creaks. I think that's fair, don't you? Soul takes a deep breath. So what is it? Tell me about the Flux. Someone at a terminal calls out to Soul, and he shouts some orders back. He turns to you. Apologies. He smiles that half smile. I tell you what, Sleeper. Let's you and me make a deal. You want information? I understand that. But I have a list of needs longer than the rim of the eye itself. He grimaces. So you do some things for me, and then we can talk about what's happening in this system. and I will answer all your questions and then some. I may be the captain of the Pilgrim's Seed, and she is certainly the biggest ship in this flotilla, but I'm not the only captain here. We have ships here from each of the moons. We're from Ember's Hearth. But there's others from Ember's Song and even Ember's Step. The moons have been at each other's throats, Sleeper. What with the pressure of the flux, the bad blood from the old days. Soul leans in. We aren't exactly all in alignment. What I need is a way to stop things escalating, for the crews on these ships and their captains to feel happy and comfortable, enough to forget their old rivalries and past crimes. He flinches at something. Those from Ember's Step, well, they've always been proud. That pride seems to be a barrier to compromise right now. The last set of supplies I sent their way, they refused. Meanwhile, I have a supply shuttle at the docking access the Ember's Song ships gather at. But they have taken far too many cycles to unload. Maybe if you're heading that way, you can look in on them. I'm no politician, Sleeper, but if I don't... Soul stops. He leans back and flexes, his suit screeching. He groans a little, and you see the weight of the flotilla sitting on his shoulders. The suit, the only thing keeping him vertical beneath all that pressure. Look, you'll see for yourself if you go. Meet the others, Sleeper. See what they need. Keep them aligned. He speaks through the pain, his voice clipped. I understand. I hope. Soul grits his teeth. You are what you appear to be, Sleeper. He smiles his half-smile, despite the pain, because I'm not sure I can take any more bad news. Plus, there's plenty to be done here on the Pilgrim Seed, too. If you have a moment to pitch in, there's never enough around here. That's something I have learned the hard way. Soul settles onto his cane, the pain visibly receding. All right. I have 1,000 things to attend to now, Sleeper, so you'll have to find your own way out. And with that, Soul sits at his terminal with slow and careful movements. You head back down in the freight elevator, and as you do, you see again the layers and layers of chaotic life this vessel and all the vessels that the flotilla hold. Ooh, okay. Daggum. Okay. This is cool. So we got a decent more than I thought we had. Whoa, how many cycles is this? Is there just one more cycle? Oh shit, one more. Yeah, you want some Yonigan data? I'll hook it up. Hook it up for the measly 10 cryo. That's dinner, baby. I will take it. Wow, just one more. Is there more? Oh shit, okay, there is. No. Peak. Okay. Hearth survival. Whether Ash got her supplies through the cordon or not, Pilgrim Seed and the Hearth refugees on it desperately need help. I like that that has started. Pilgrim Seed support. Hey man, I'll put some of these in. Unload supplies. And we want that to happen, the unfinished business. Okay. I guess we talk to Peak again. As you walk into the bay of the Climbing Briar, the familiarity of the space overcomes any trepidation. It feels good to be back, and the return feels earned, especially after all the work it took to figure out a route through the flotilla's jumble of ships that might lead you to this blue streak. You see Ash and Peak immediately, sitting at the back of the bay, deep in conversation. Their closeness causes you to stop, suddenly aware that you might be interrupting something private. Peak is gesturing wildly as Ash stares out into the middle distance, hunched over. As Peak tries to get her attention, she spots you. Sleeper. Ash nods. Incredible work back there. She smiles. Sorry I couldn't wait for you and Peak, but the moment I saw the cordon go down, I had to get in here. Peak shakes their head, leaping before looking as usual. Peak smiles. But I'm glad we are all reunited. To be honest, I can't believe it. The Flux event knocked the entire cordon system offline. The flotilla is free and Haven Age are backing off. Peak smiles at you. You must be our good luck charm. It's not a good thing. In this case, I have to agree with the Sleeper. The Flux may have bought me my freedom, but the cost for the flotilla's systems is significant. And if Haven Age weren't panicked enough, Ash glances off into the distance. What exactly is happening? Hard to tell. It's some kind of disruptive wave that only affects electrical systems, Peak chips in. Typically, systems are screened against radiation and interference, but this seems to be dulled, but not stopped by those defenses. Basically, the crisis continues. The cordon may be down, but this brings a whole other set of problems. Ash paces away. You should tell them, Ash. Peak glances at her. Please. Ash doesn't respond. Tell you what. You stare at her back, waiting for a response. Please, Ash. Haven't they shown they can be trusted? Peak nods towards you. Ash turns, her arms folded tightly across her chest. She goes to start and then stops. You can see the anger in her eyes, but you realize it is not directed at you or anyone else. She is angry with herself. I brought weapons to the flotilla. She pauses, and now they are gone. You suddenly remember the sleek crates that were tucked into the bay, marked with a yellow sigil. The ones Ash told you were just supplies. What do you mean, gone? What do you think? Ash snaps. Someone lifted them from the ship's bay while I was unloading the supplies. She sniffs. At least they are in the hands of the flotilla now. Peak looks at you. She knows this was a bad move, Sleeper, I promise you. They glance back at her. She's just too proud to admit it. What's up? Oh, okay. Where'd you get them from? XPR? Ash gestures around the ship. I wasn't about to leave the colony armed when we escaped. I wouldn't trust them not to use them on us. Peak sighs. I didn't know a thing about them, which is why Ash is going to be the one to find them and bring them back. Shouldn't we help? Ash turns. It's okay, Sleeper. I don't want anyone getting mixed up in this. This is my responsibility. She looks away. Plus, Peak adds, you and I have work to do. I want to understand the Flux, Sleeper, to study it. Peak's eyes light up. This thing is changing the entire system, causing problems across the inner system, driving refugees off Ember's moons, and now it's here. If we don't do something about it, Peak pauses. It's a problem for all of us. I can see more immediate problems. Ash sniffs. Peak ignores her. I've been looking at the networks, and when the Flux event hit, it changed things. It shuffled systems, corrupted nodes, and broke open data stores. They take out a slate and show you a flickering polygon. Some of these Flux nodes have appeared near the epicenter of the event, but I can't get access. You, however, I saw the way you worked with data when we were preparing for the run. I think you can get into these things. I want you to find a Flux node and bring me anything you can extract. They come and go, but most can be found in the barely functioning networks of the waste. Peak pauses. Start there. Perhaps together we can find something that might point us to what the Flux is and where it comes from. Okay. They smile. I knew you'd agree. Ash looks indignant. Don't waste too much time chasing ghosts, Sleeper. There are people on this flotilla that need help. Any help they can get. I'm sure Sleeper can do both, Ash. Peak smiles at you. I'll see you here when you have something. Good hunting. And they wave you out as Ash stomps away to make plans of her own. And just like that, We are building a little drive repo. We got a couple we gotta finish now. Aki. Ember's Step Refugee. It's a strange sight, given your time spent in the Greenway, to see a greenhouse choked in red dust. It piles up along edges, gathers in curving waves, and is carried by some unseen wind to whirl in front of the glass ceiling. It is a desert in miniature, a captured landscape of iron-rich sediment and unseen life. Beautiful, isn't it? The remark comes from another figure standing at the viewing window, so quietly that you hadn't noticed them. Did they just arrive, or were they here before you were? Their cloth-swaddled form reveals little. It is. They say nothing. You catch a glimpse of a pale face among the thick material, dark eyes glittering in the red reflected light. Cool. They turn to you as the dust swirls. Aki. They smile a tight smile. You are not from the flotilla, am I right? I live on the Eye. But that's not where you are from. She stares into the greenhouse. Everyone is from somewhere, whether they wish to be or not. The red dust glitters in her eyes. Whether is it a good place to be from or not? Aki gathers her cloak around her shoulders against the cold. What brings you to the wind's long shadow? Wind's long shadow? This ship. Aki looks at you curiously. Do you often wander around ships you don't know the name of? You are a strange one. Aki raises an eyebrow. I don't know whether to report you or send you back to where you came from. She smiles to herself. Which is nowhere at all. You glance around the empty corridor, suddenly aware of how quiet it is on the ship. Unlike the other ships you have been on in the flotilla, there is a silent order to the wind's long shadow, and in this moment it feels unsettling. Where is everyone? Aki waves a hand. Asleep, mostly. It is night on Step, and so it is night here. She rubs her shoulders. At least for those of us who can sleep. Step? Aki turns away, irritated, eager to change the subject. You hear a creak as a set of shutters slowly begin to close across the glass ceiling of the greenhouse. As you watch, you feel the dissonance that this place has with that word. There is nothing green here. A dust house, perhaps. It takes many systems to preserve this landscape, Aki begins, to simulate the wind, cycle the dust, layer the sand and dirt beneath. You watch the dust swirling, systems that are failing. The flux event, Aki glances at you for a sign of recognition at this term, is eroding our ability to keep this place alive, to keep these traces of Step alive. She smiles to herself. Which is ironic, because when we left Step, the flux had eroded our ability to survive on the moon. Now the situation is reversed. Away from the moon, its ecosystems are as fragile as we are, living upon it. Something catches your eye as the shutters darken the dust house. The winds, picking away at the dunes, begin to reveal something, a web, a network of thick branching forms, and then they close completely, and you see nothing in the dark. Soft blue lights flicker on in the corridor, uplighting Aki in cold cyan. You have piqued my curiosity, but I'm so tired. Aki shivers. If you do not have a purpose here on the ship, I recommend finding one. Otherwise, I'm afraid you'll need to leave. Make yourself useful, and perhaps we will get another chance to talk. She turns. I would like that. With that, Aki pads away along the corridor. You stand for a moment in front of the dark dust house, trying to imagine the network of roots under the sand and dust, and then trying to imagine the moon that once housed them. Whoa. Dust houses. Okay, the crew won't let you into the dust house, but there are plenty of supporting systems that could do with some love and care. Cool. Badass. I still can't believe we got psyched out. Did not. Oh, nice. Did not realize there was this much left. Okay, let's go see. Actually, hold on. We've got, what, 2 more days on that? And... whoop. Yeah, an agent. I'm gonna assume the flux node is over there. Lem and Mina. The crowds have already gathered by the time you get to the shipyard, and you recognize faces among them, people you have worked alongside on the sidereal. The intervening cycles have turned their excitement to anxiety, and a few of them smile at you. Instead, the nervous energy of the crowd fills the space, creating a feedback loop of growing tension. You pick out Lem and Mina and work your way over to them, pushing through the crowd. He silently raises his eyebrows at you, his anxiety obvious, but Mina flashes you a huge smile, unaware of the tension. "Robot!" she shouts, reaching out to you. She gratefully accepts your hug, leaning against your chest, and Lem smiles, seemingly glad to share the weight of Mina for a moment. Quite the turnout, huh? Lem glances around, pulling Mina close. I don't think patience is one of this crowd's strengths. The sound of an argument towards the back catches your and Lem's attention. He is putting it lightly. This place seems set to explode. This isn't good. Lem doesn't dare answer, but the look in his eyes suggests he agrees. This is Aster Enghart of the Celis Foundation. The announcement echoes from the speakers at the shipyard entrance, and shouts of "Quiet!" rapidly follow. I'm sorry I can't be there to meet you all, and thank you on behalf of Sender Celis for the work you have done on the sidereal horizon. Most of the crowd strains to see Aster's face, but the small display shows only a ghostly white figure, smudged and unclear. Sender wanted me to pass on her personal thanks for your commitment to and belief in the Celis Foundation's mission. We chose the Eye for this project because we knew that we would find like-minded individuals here, especially among the ranks of the venerable Haven Age Association. Unlike most of the Corps, we neither believe Erland's Eye to be a threat or a rogue state, but instead an embryo for the formation of a new decentralized social structure, one where each citizen might be the master of their own destiny. A ripple of impatience runs through the crowd. They didn't come here for a sermon. You are all pioneers, just like those core citizens who the sidereal horizon will carry in cryosleep to the planet that will become the Foundation's first frontier world, Celis 1. At the mention of the destination world, excited conversations break out among the workers. There, our citizens will be able to create their own innovative bottom-up economic order, aligned with the principles set down by Sender Celis herself. Freedom, resilience, and self-sustenance. This is all thanks to your tireless efforts in the Haven Age yards. As a reward for those efforts, you may know that we are offering a select group the opportunity to join the caretakers of this vision. The staff of the Sidereal Horizon, who will maintain the vessel during its multi-decade transit through interstellar space. Lem turns to you, his eyes bright. Oh, this is it? Dude. They get to be in cryo sleep, and y'all gotta work the fucking ship in age. Ugh, I hate this. This draw has been performed at random by the central AIs of the Foundation and is final and binding. Please note, only licensed contractors of the Foundation are eligible for this draw. I know you have all been eagerly awaiting this day, and without further delay, I will now read the Celis identification numbers of those chosen for this great honor. A murmur runs through the crowd. Celis identification numbers? Licensed contractors. You have never even heard the term mentioned. Is this something you were supposed to be assigned? You glance at Lem, but his eyes are fixed forward, wide and shimmering. All around you, people are speaking in hushed tones, like a rising wave. Aster starts reading out sequences of numbers and letters, and panic begins to set in. No one seems to know what is happening. Somewhere near the front of the crowd, someone shouts in celebration, and everyone pushes forward. Lem? You turn to see Lem still staring forward. Mina is scared now as the shouts start. Daddy? Someone throws something at the entrance and it rattles against the shipyard doors. You see for the first time, Haven Age security stood on either side, scared, arguing between themselves. You feel the anger rising in the crowd. Lem, let's go. He doesn't move. They call out names. I can't. Mina tugs at his dog tags. It's not happening. Lem blinks rapidly and then turns to you. He opens and closes his mouth and looks down at Mina. He sees the fear in her eyes and understands. It's time to go. You lead Lem and Mina out, shoving people aside. As you do, you hear the sound of scuffles emerging at the front of the crowd, of metal canisters bouncing off of the shipyard walls. You keep your head down and walk away, the sound of Aster reading off the ciphers echoing above the chaos like some strange mantra. When you turn to Lem, there are tear tracks running down his cheeks, and Mina is sniffling into his jacket. You feel the sadness rising in you, too. They screwed you. They screwed all of you. You were never even on the list. The feeling is as unpleasant as it is familiar. You stare ahead into the tunnel as the security sirens sound out, a signal for the coming violence. Are you fucking kidding me? We failed it? Oh, what the fuck? Fuck. Dude. Brutal. Oh my god. Lem's out. Gone to find work. What the fuck? These corporate motherfuckers have ruined everything. Oh, that's so frustrating. Oh, fluxed node. Let's get after it. Extract data. Okay. Alright, we got the flux node. Deliver the flux data. Sleeper, come look at this. Peak is poring over one of the displays of the makeshift decoding suite they have set up in the Climbing Briar's cargo bay. On the screen, a clump of data pathways, like an ingrown root ball, has started to untangle. This is an existing node, corrupted by the flux event. It's totally twisted up. They glance at you to check you are listening, but inside, you watch as the unwinding pathways leave behind patterns of negative spaces, like shadows staying behind despite their caster leaving. Oh, whoops. Oh. But inside is a whole other data set. Peak's eyes shine bright in the pale screen light. The flux event somehow seeds this data deep into the gaps in the node, wrapping them around it. Why? Peak pauses. I have no idea. You watch the screen, the pattern of shadows becoming obvious now as each layer of pathways is pulled up. The flux event itself really did a number on the unprotected nodes like this one. Most of the eye's systems are screened against radiation and interference, but these exposed nodes, Peak makes a ripping motion with their hands, torn apart. Peak points to a thick tangle of threads on the screen. Look here. It looks like it's been tangled purposefully, but it's actually that all the points within the node have been randomly rearranged. It's as if the node was a bag of ball bearings and the flux shook them. The pathways tried to account for the rearrangement once the system came back on, hence the tangle. Peak pauses as the node continues to unwind. Although, Peak muses, it was less like shaking a bag of ball bearings and more like making them all simultaneously occupy a superposition of every possible position in the bag before locking them back into a new configuration. They smile sheepishly. But that's a technicality. Does any of that help us? For now, not especially. It explains the damage flux does to systems, but the method is an exotic one. Peak runs a hand through their hair. What we need to know is what is causing this, where it is coming from. Peak turns away from the screen, meeting your eye. And there's something else. They pause. Have you spoken with the refugees? A little. Peak lowers their voice instinctively. What they are reporting? Massive systems failures, cascading collapses of life support, of terraforming systems, total data corruption. Peak swallows. The flux shouldn't do that. It can fundamentally rearrange the structure of systems, especially those poorly shielded, but totally collapsing heavy-duty industrial systems, fail-safes and all? That doesn't make sense. Those kinds of systems are built for deep space, for solar flashes and radiation. The flux might penetrate them, but any reconfiguration should have been repairable. Peak looks back at the screen, where the decoding node lies almost fully open. A shadow pattern of the negative spaces that existed within its scrambled interior darkens the screen, like a set of bruises showing the pattern of the object that made them. I need to look into something. I have an idea what might be causing this wave, triggering the flux, but I need time to research it. Can I help? Peak shakes their head. Sorry, Sleeper, but I want to keep this to myself for now. You need something to do the flotilla could surely do with the help. From what I've heard from Ash, things are tense there. Where is Ash? Peak glances around the bay. Must be out. I've been focusing on this, so I can't say I've noticed. Although the quiet is nice. They smile. Give me some time, Sleeper. Peak turns back to their console. I'll have some answers soon enough, I hope. You take one last glance at the uncoiling node as you leave. The dark shapes it leaves behind are somehow troubling. You try to shake them from your mind. There are things to be done elsewhere. Okay. Nightmare. The docking access. Is this... Hey, let's just... Yeah, we can get this one done. This be docking access. There's a loose crowd around the supplies you have unloaded and a tense mood brewing among them. You sit nearby on the edge of the shuttle's docking tunnel, resting. Further away, crews from Ember's Song continue their lives as usual. Coming and going, trading, discussing. There's a quiet efficiency to the hub, set up as a common space for the swarm of small ships from Ember's Song that are part of the flotilla. Unlike Hearth or Steppe, there is no one capital ship for this moon's refugees, just a mass of individuals traveling in concert. We told Hearth we didn't want their scraps. The jeering voice comes out of the small crowd nearby. You turn to see a gaunt, pale man wearing the industrial work gear you have seen many of the Song refugees wearing. You hear me? These supplies are to help. He smirks. Oh, how noble of you. Coming out here to help us singers? There's a rumble of anger around the crowd. We agreed to join the flotilla for joint protection. We did not agree to Ember's Hearth using the flotilla to secure their control of the moons. You realize Peter is addressing the crowd as much as he is addressing you. With the cordon down, our crews are more than able to acquire what is needed from the eye, what is owed as restitution for keeping us restrained. He pats one of the crates you unloaded. What we need, we will take. Sol wants to cooperate. Sol is a farmer. Even the people of Song know that he was simply the sole survivor of Hart's leadership. His authority means nothing. Peter looks at the crowd. Hart think they can buy us, but we remember the past. A rumble of agreement runs through the crowd. He smiles at them. Take the supplies if you wish, of course. We're not wasteful. Peter approaches you directly. The crowd tentatively moves forward, and by the time he reaches you, they are already dragging away crates and distributing the contents. I'm not one for shooting the messenger, Sleeper, says Peter as he approaches. But we cannot concede to Hearth here, not for a moment. I don't understand. I can see that. Peter sits beside you on the docking tunnel's lip. What was your plan, Sleeper? Unload the supplies, wait for someone to start throwing them back at you? He nods at the crowd, rifling through the crates. Because that's what was about to happen. So I should thank you? Peter bows a little. My pleasure. What do you think happened to the crew of this shuttle? He shakes his head. They were chased out of this place. Why do they hate Hearth? We, Peter says with emphasis, do not hate Hearth. We simply do not trust them. You know anything about Ember's Moon, Sleeper? Or were you planning to wander into this flotilla totally blind? An objective outsider offering help. He rolls his eyes. Educate me then. He smiles. It would be my pleasure. I'm going to assume you know the basics. The gas giant Ember has 7 moons. The 3 biggest are Ember's Step, Ember's Song, and Ember's Heart. He winks. We can cover the 3 sisters next session. Step was the first to be settled. A contract old Solheim gave to the terraformers Sybil Systems when they first claimed the Helion system. That's way back when. Step was a testing ground, and like most testing grounds, it didn't turn out too well. The partial atmosphere is slowly sloughing off each orbit, a dysfunctional ecosystem, and a whole load of dust-clogged settlers. The place is a miserable desert, long past its best before date. So Sybil moved to Hearth, where they redoubled their efforts. The subsurface ocean and some balmy tidal heating helped, allowing them to build a real atmosphere, a real habitable world. A fact that the typical Hearth colonist won't ever let you forget. How did Sybil achieve such a thing, you might wonder? Well, that's where we come in. It's that same old rule of surrogacy, the one humanity built our universe around. Peter claps a hand to his chest in mock pride. My moon, Ember Song, is a sulfur-soaked rock covered in volcanoes, tidally heated by its inner orbit to sweltering temperatures. Exactly the kind of crucible you need to fuel a terraforming project. Energy, industry, fuel. Song provided the raw materials for Hearth. Peter grimaces, willingly or not. And a crucible requires people to run it, us singers, born into a flaming pit and asked to stoke it so others might live in a paradise in the making. That's what we had to endure until Solheim brought everything down. Peter rattles off his speech from memory, and you wonder how many times he's delivered it. No Solheim, no contract. No contract, no Sybil. And no Sybil meant 3 moons suddenly independent. Peter shakes his head. It was a war, Sleeper. Sometimes hot, sometimes cold, and unsurprisingly Hearth and Step came out of it better than us. Yet, Peter holds up a hand, they need us, Sleeper. Always have. So we are the linchpin. We are the center around which the moon's orbit. Not swirling Ember. We've resisted takeovers, sieges, and expansions, and now we'll resist this. Half the people on these ships think the flux was caused by Hearth, intentionally or otherwise, and I have to say, some cycles, I agree. Before you come here to hand out supplies like a good soldier, maybe educate yourself. What does that matter now? Peter shakes his head. Do you forgive crimes against yourself so easily, Sleeper? Would you return to the bosom of Essenarp if they sent someone to collect? Peter stares at the crowd. Don't presume to judge us. I want you to imagine what it's like to try to live on an airless volcanic rock when every system that sustains you starts shutting down. He spits and wipes his sleeve across his mouth. We abandoned nothing. Some stayed, others left. We will reclaim Ember as soon as the flux fades or ends. We've weathered worse. Don't you need the supplies? As I said, we will take what we need when we need it. Peter stares out into the Axis. There is no authority that we recognize here. I won't keep you from the docking Axis, Sleeper. No one here has the authority for that, but watch yourself here. Try to remember that the Eye is just another in the long list of people who have tried to control us. I understand. Peter nods. Then let it guide your actions. Peter sighs. Look, we are many, and we have many needs. Ships come to this docking Axis for repairs, for requisitions, for friendship. You can provide these as well as any singer. You want to help in your own name, Sleeper, not in that of Hearth. Peter shakes his head. Carry that name here and you will lose all trust. Be as we are. Act in your own name alone. Peter puts a hand on your shoulder and stands. I hope I didn't just waste my time here, Sleeper. With that, he walks away, back to the shrinking crowd that is distributing the last of the supplies amongst the crews present. You watch them pass the food and water between them. No signs of conflict between the crews, just a careful distribution of resources. Peter chats with a few crews, each of them casting looks in your direction, ones that reveal little about the singer's intentions. You stand. It seems the tensions of the flotilla run much deeper than you expected. This won't be easy. Ship mind replacement. Okay. I think we do this. And then apparently we got some more Citizen Sleeper to play. I kind of forgot about the episodes at the end, so we'll be back with more. This playthrough is not over yet. Alright, take it easy, y'all. Bye.